third pillar is acknowledgement. If we just perform integration, the idea is compensation. You don't have a language, I give you a language. You don't know, I inform you. So compensation, I give you. And also assimilation is an issue because you have to become equal. You have to be integrated. So I'm not interested in your skills, language skills, for example, in your history, in your story, life story. So third pillar, so interculture is the contrary of assimilation. It means networking. It has this prefix inter, that means contamination, intertwining. And so the idea is that of promoting the acknowledgement as much as possible. Starting from the acknowledgement of other people's languages. We had our speaker from Luxembourg. We already have difficulties in bilingual communities. I work with teachers who always underline how much some children do not know Italian, and it never happens that a Chinese child is defined as bilingual. A child who is of English language is not defined, is defined bilingual. A Chinese child is either Chinese who doesn't know Italian or nothing. So it's very difficult to conceive that a migrant is bilingual while he is. And words are important. They are stones that build reality. So be very careful or acknowledgement. The others need things, but they can also bring things. Fairy tales, massage techniques, somebody was saying, narration modes, languages, skills. There are boys and girls that come from Eastern Europe and they have talents. We should try and not only see what's missing, but also what is there. For example, there is a very big intercultural center in Paris, which is the Museum of Immigration, the city of immigration on various floors, with all the history of immigration in France, all the communities. And it's also a history of the conflicts, of course. And then there is a whole part with video materials. And then there is the third floor, which is the Gallery of Gifts. It is what they brought to France in terms of narrative, writing, art, economics, and demography, of course. Well, imagine acknowledge as if it was that third floor, the Gallery of Gifts. In Italy, we have many writers that are of foreign origin who write in Italian. This is another element of richness. They came to Italy when they were 20, Gesimaidari, for example. He arrived in Italy when he was 20 and he won the Montale Award. There are younger writers, second generation writers who write in Italian. These are all examples of acknowledgement. Back to interculture. what paradigm says is something very important. That when you are trained to an intercultural mind, you have to work on two dimensions. The first is the learning, the learning dimension, that is working on the learning skills. So provide more information on the others, more information on culture, more tools to understand. Someone said it already, the understanding other people's points of view, learning how to communicate. The dimension that Morin would define as opening one's mind. So interculture means opening the mind and opening your heart. So the learning dimension of knowledge and emotional, relational skills. I have to know who those are different from me, and that's a step forward, but that's not enough. Anthropology in the beginning knew everything about communities, but knowing was used to control. So knowing things about other people is also sometimes a mode of power and control. So the other dimension is the relational and emotional attitude. So if I collect information, so if I know how my community is composed, what are their languages, there is an area in which there are the Sikh community, and there is a child that goes to school, primary school, first class, and this child goes to school with his turban, and the teacher introduces him and tells this is Singh. He's a foreigner. And all the kids say, but he's a girl because he has this turban. The children are 6 years old. And the teacher, in that moment, is not prepared to give a meaning to cultural practices, while her role would be that of explaining to the children the reason why their friend, who's not a girl, he's wearing a turban. So the operators sometimes have to describe the world to other people, kids and adults, a world which has changed and they have to be informed about. Opening your mind with the learning activities is not enough, because we have to modify attitudes and behaviors through the relational and emotional dimension. Paradigm indicates the need to involve the operators. It introduces a different point of view. What does this cause? Uncertainty, difficulties, that is, breaking habits is not always easy. Also for those who go through that path as operators. And so we need to learn how to tolerate uncertainty, avoid judging, avoid judgments, be surprised about differences, through personal research, finding agreements, and sometimes learning how to disagree. There are practices, cultural practices that are not good, simply be them ours or theirs. So it is important to state informed boundaries. And so, towards the conclusions, I would say that this project and this path which is proposed, paradigm, have this double value, working on the learning and at the same time emotional level, and proposing two modes, thinking of the other people, thinking of the other person inside everybody's space, thinking of the other person with differences and analogies. There are many differences, but many things that are similar, but also to make the double effort of thinking of yourself together with the other person. So, learning about other people, asking, informing, communicating who we are, and thinking of ourselves or ourselves as communities, citizens, together with the other person. The others are there to stay. They're not going away. They will be there. This will be their home, now and in the future. And so, as the Chinese say, a wise man learns from experience, and even wiser man learns from other people's experience as well. So this way of working together interinstitutionally with among different services, with operators with a different attitude, helps us to build the intercultural puzzle. And then, quickly to conclude, and I've been very quick on the slides that are, however, available if you want to take a look at them. So, as to the Intercultural Center, first of all, my best wishes for it to be implemented soon. The space is very beautiful. In Italy, there are like 86 intercultural centers, which are twinned with big European intercultural centers, the House of Culture in Berlin, the Cité in Paris, a center in Brussels, one in Vienna, one in Spain. So the suggestion is to go outside of Viadana and Mantua, take a look at the center in Turin, in Modena, the center. I can tell you what are the most interesting even in Italy alone, because most of them work together on integration, relation, intercultural richness. So what is important today is not to start afresh, but put everything together and start from there. Thank you, and I wish you a very fruitful continuation of your work.